Jack Thompson strolled into the sterile white medical bay, hands tucked casually into his pockets. He wasn't thrilled about being here, but orders were orders. Apparently, mild discomfort in the back after a rough landing was enough to trigger a full intergalactic medical checkup. Bureaucracy at its finest. A tall, rigid alien with gleaming chitinous plates and 6 delicate appendages tapped at a holographic screen, not even looking up. Designation? The alien asked in a clipped, no-nonsense voice. Jack Thompson. Human. Chronic badass. Jack grinned. The alien finally looked up, its large multifaceted eyes narrowing. That was not a recognized classification. Try adding it to the system. Maybe it'll stick. The alien's mandibles clicked in disapproval. Dr. Zilvek, as his nameplate read, was clearly not amused. You are here for a medical scan, not comedic performances. Zilvek's voice was smooth but carried an unmistakable air of authority, the kind that made other species snap to attention. Jack naturally ignored it. You sure? Because I feel like comedy is the best medicine. Incorrect. The best medicine is extracellular regeneration serum. Please sit. Jack sighed, dropping onto the examination chair with a lazy sprawl. So what's the deal? You're gonna check if my insides are still inside? Zilvek typed something briskly. Standard skeletal integrity scan. Humans are known for their frequent structural failures. You mean breaking bones? Yes. A pause. It is concerning. Jack snorted. Doc, breaking bones is part of life. You live, you mess up, you break something, it heals, and boom, you've got a cool story. Zilvek stared. You intentionally damage yourself for storytelling purposes? Jack thought about it. Not on purpose, but I'll be real. If I break my arm doing something cool, you bet I'm telling everyone. A horrified silence. You are a deeply flawed species. Jack grinned. The machine hummed to life, scanning Jack from head to toe. A few seconds later, a glowing holographic X-ray image popped up. Human skeleton detected. A standard readout. Ribs. Spine. Collarbone. Everything where it should be. Zilvek studied it with clinical detachment. Your bone alignment is sufficient. Jack gave him a thumbs up. I do my best. The alien prepared to log the scan, completely oblivious to what was about to happen. Jack, naturally restless, stretched his arms, leaned to one side, and shifted his weight. The chair creaked. He yawned. Zilvek tilted his head. Remain still. I am taking a second verification scan. Jack waved lazily. Yeah? Do your thing. The machine whirred again. A second X-ray appeared. Zilvek froze. His mandibles twitched. His antennae stiffened. His clawed fingers gripped the edge of the console so tightly the metal creaked. Jack's skeleton had changed. The spine was now curved. The ribs had shifted slightly. The human skeletal structure was different. Zilvek's breathing halted. He scanned again. Same results. A nightmare scenario unfolded in his mind. Had the human just rearranged his bones, within seconds? His voice, usually controlled, came out shaky. Explain. Jack blinked. Huh! Zilvek pointed at the hologram, voice rising. Your skeletal structure changed. Jack glanced at the screen. 2 X-rays slightly different. Oh. Yeah, I moved. Zilvek's claws clicked sharply. Moved what? Jack gave him a weird look. My body? Like I leaned a little? You ever heard of posture? Zilvek stared at the screens again. The bones had shifted. Humans had internal bones. Unlike his species, where an exoskeleton remained static for life, a human's frame was malleable. Your bones repositioned within your flesh? Jack raised a brow. Yeah? That's how joints work, document. Zilvek staggered back. Unnatural. Jack laughed. What? You guys don't move? Zilvek hissed. Our skeletal structures do not shift. They are fixed. Your ability to manipulate your framework at will is deeply distressing. Jack grinned. Oh, buddy. You haven't seen a human do yoga yet. Zilvek recoiled like Jack had just threatened to explode into tentacles. The medical bay was silent for a long moment. Then Zilvek pressed a red emergency button. A shrill alarm blared through the room. A robotic voice chimed. Unidentified biological anomaly detected. Medical team requested. Immediate containment advised. Jack blinked. Wait, containment? What the hell, man? Zilvek ignored him, frantically tapping at the console. Unknown skeletal restructuring ability, potential shapeshifter, possibly unstable biological framework. Jack threw up his hands. For the love of dude, I'm just stretching. Zilvek didn't respond. His antennae were twitching wildly. His mandibles clicked rapidly. He looked like someone who had just witnessed a cosmic horror. Jack groaned. Okay, fine. Let's talk this out before you start throwing me in some quarantine chamber. Zilvek slowly turned back to him. His many eyes narrowed. His voice was low. Calculating. Human. Answer carefully. A pause. Are you capable of rearranging your bones at will? Jack grinned. What happens if I say yes? Zilvek immediately called for backup. Dr. Helzak arrived in a hurry, multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession as he surveyed the situation. His many limbs moved with a speed that suggested either great urgency or deep terror. Zilvek turned to him with barely concealed panic, his mandibles twitching erratically. This human, it has changed its skeletal structure. Twice. Helzak stiffened. Clarify. Zilvek gestured wildly at the holographic scans, both images displayed side by side. Observe! The first scan stable. Expected human frame. The second? He jabbed a clawed finger at the altered posture, voice rising. Mutation. Reconfiguration. In mere moments. Helzak's mandibles parted slightly, a gesture Jack assumed was their version of dropping one's jaw in shock. Jack, who had been sitting casually on the examination chair, arms crossed behind his head, sighed. All right, let's clear this up before one of you faints. I moved. That's it. The chair's uncomfortable, and I shifted a little. That's how bodies work. Helzak ignored him entirely, turning to Zilvek with barely contained horror. How much control do they have over it? Zilvek shook his head. Unknown. Potentially full manipulation. The bones shift within their bodies like liquid. Jack burst out laughing. Like what? You think I just slosh my ribs around for fun? Neither alien responded. They were too deep in what Jack recognized as scientific panic mode. Helzak took a cautious step forward. Human, he said slowly, as if addressing a dangerous predator. Is this ability conscious or autonomic? Jack smirked. Oh yeah, totally conscious. Watch this. He dramatically rolled his shoulders, causing his collarbones to visibly shift under his skin. Both aliens flinched. Helzak's appendages curled inward. That was unnatural. Zilvek nearly knocked over the console trying to step back. They are capable of selective bone displacement. Jack grinned. Buddy, I'm just stretching. Ever heard of a chiropractor? Zilvek shuddered. I do not wish to. Helzak rubbed two of his limbs together, deep in thought. If they can consciously adjust their framework, then. His voice trailed off, and his eyes darted back to Jack with something dangerously close to reverence. Jack, recognizing an opportunity, leaned forward. Oh, you have no idea. We can do some crazy things with our bones. Helzak hesitated. Such as? Jack kept a completely straight face. You ever heard of dislocating a shoulder? Zilvek made a strangled clicking noise. Helzak's limbs stiffened. You remove segments of your own structure? Jack nodded solemnly. Pop it right out. And the best part? We can put it back in. Zilvek was rapidly taking notes. Self-induced structural disassembly, followed by reassembly, without surgical intervention. He looked up, expression unreadable. Are all humans capable of this? Jack shrugged. Well, not everyone's as skilled as me, but yeah, mostly. Helzak's eyes darted toward the medical bay door, then back at Jack. He seemed to be debating something before turning to Zilvek and whispering, "We may be in the presence of an advanced evolutionary anomaly." Jack let out a low whistle. "Man, I am loving where this is going." Zilvek, still hunched over his data tablet, mumbled to himself, "The implications are vast. If they can adjust their skeletal structure at will, they may be able to." Jack cut in, voice laced with mischief. "Oh, we can do way more than that." Zilvek hesitated. "Elaborate." Jack leaned in, lowering his voice like he was revealing some deep cosmic secret. "Ever seen a human crack their knuckles?" Zilvek stiffened. Helzak twitched. Jack flexed his fingers and, with deliberate slowness, cracked every knuckle on both hands. The sound reverberated through the medical bay like gunfire. Zilvek yelped. Helzak recoiled so violently he nearly flipped over a medical tray. Jack wiggled his fingers. "Ah. Nothing like a good adjustment." Zilvek's voice was barely a whisper. "You just fractured yourself." Jack laughed. "Nah, man. That's just gas bubbles popping in the joints. Feels amazing." Helzak's limbs pressed against his exoskeleton in what could only be described as an alien fetal position. "Their internal structure is gaseous?" Jack shrugged. "In a way." Zilvek shot Helzak a look of pure existential dread. "They are part liquid, part solid, and part gas." Helzak shuddered. "They are an abomination." Jack grinned. "Now you're getting it." A long, tense silence stretched between them. Then, as if deciding he had reached his maximum stress threshold, Helzak turned to Zilvek and muttered, "We must inform the High Medical Council." Jack's smile widened. "Oh, you guys are really taking this seriously, huh?" Zilvek's mandibles clicked. "Of course. If even half of what you claim is true, then humanity's medical classification needs to be completely revised." Jack smirked. "Well, if you want more research material, I can do a backflip. Might blow your mind." Helzak held up a trembling appendage. "No sudden movements." Jack stretched again just to mess with them, watching with satisfaction as both aliens flinched. Zilvek inhaled sharply. "I need to sit down." Helzak clutched the console. "You are sitting." Zilvek blinked. "Then I need to stand up." Jack leaned back, watching the two aliens as they struggled to process what they had just witnessed. Zilvek was gripping his data pad like it was the only thing tethering him to reality, while Helzak was rapidly typing notes into the medical database, his claws clicking against the interface at an increasingly frantic pace. Jack grinned. "So, what's the verdict, Doc? Am I a medical miracle or just your worst nightmare?" Zilvek exhaled in a long, deliberate breath. "You are an anomaly." Helzak barely looked up from his console. "A biological impossibility." Jack cracked his neck. They both flinched. "You guys keep saying that, but I feel pretty normal." Zilvek's mandibles twitched. "Normal?" His voice was almost shrill. "You casually alter your skeletal structure without pain. You produce internal gas eruptions within your own framework. You willingly dislocate and realign your own limbs. And now you..." He gestured wildly, struggling to find the words. "You made your cervical support segment emit an audible fracturing noise." Jack blinked. "My what?" Helzak pointed a trembling appendage. "Your spine." "Oh." Jack shrugged. "Yeah, I just cracked my neck. Feels great." Zilvek turned away as if he couldn't bear to look at him. "This is beyond comprehension." Jack chuckled. "You should see what happens when I roll my shoulders. Feels even better." Helzak shuddered. "And yet you continue to voluntarily dismantle your framework. Buddy, I barely got started. Ever heard of hypermobility?" Zilvek hesitated. "Hypermobility?" Jack stretched out his arm and, with deliberate slowness, bent his thumb all the way back to touch his forearm. Zilvek gasped. Helzak made a choked clicking sound. Your structure should not allow that, Zilvek whispered in horror. Jack grinned. Oh, but it does. And guess what? I know people who can bend in ways that'd make your head spin. Helzak's limbs folded inward as if he were trying to physically shield himself from the information. You mean to suggest there are others? Jack smirked. Yeah. Ever heard of contortionists? Zilvek's claws trembled over his data pad. Define. Jack leaned forward like a man about to drop the best joke of his life. They can fold themselves in half. Some of them can even fit into tiny boxes. Helzak made a wheezing noise. Zilvek gripped his chest like he was moments away from a full breakdown. This is not natural. Jack laughed. For us it is. Zilvek shook his head. No. This must be some form of undeclared biological adaptation. The ability to reconfigure one's frame at will is an evolutionary advantage I cannot begin to quantify. He turned to Helzak. What if they use this ability in combat? Jack grinned. Oh, we do. Both aliens froze. Jack leaned in conspiratorially. Ever seen a wrestler pop their shoulder out to escape a hold? Helzak trembled. No. Ever heard of parkour? Gymnastics? Jiu-jitsu? Zilvek's breath itched. You utilize this skeletal instability as a weapon? Jack cracked his knuckles again. Oh yeah? Some of us can even pop joints out on command to squeeze through tight spaces. Helzak immediately turned to Zilvek. We need a containment protocol. Jack burst out laughing. Containment? What, you think I'm gonna slither through the vents like some horror movie monster? Zilvek's expression darkened. Can you? Jack winked. Depends on how bad you want to find out. Helzak's limbs curled inward again. They are too powerful. Jack smirked. Oh, you have no idea. Zilvek inhaled sharply, glancing back at the X-ray scans as if hoping they would suddenly provide logical explanations. When they didn't, he groaned. This will require extensive study. Jack stretched again, making sure his joints audibly popped just to mess with them. Both aliens flinched. Helzak's voice was barely a whisper. We need to reassess everything. Zilvek nodded. I must update the database. If humans are this flexible, then our understanding of their anatomy is dangerously incomplete. Jack tilted his head. You know, I could make this real easy for you guys. Zilvek hesitated. How? Jack grinned. Just put a note in your files, humans build different. Zilvek groaned. Helzak whispered. I think I need to lie down. Jack watched as Helzak slumped against the console, his limbs twitching as if his entire worldview had been shattered. Zilvek was furiously typing into his data pad, occasionally shaking his head in disbelief. Jack couldn't help but chuckle. So, what's the final diagnosis, Doc? Am I a medical miracle or a cosmic mistake? Helzak exhaled in a slow, deliberate motion, trying to regain composure. You are an anomaly. Jack grinned. You already said that. Zilvek didn't even look up. We had not yet fully grasped the extent of your anomaly. Jack cracked his knuckles again just to watch them flinch. I could show you more, but I'm worried one of you might actually pass out. Zilvek groaned. I wish you would stop making those sounds. Jack smirked. But it's so satisfying. You know, there are entire communities of humans who do this just for fun. Helzak stiffened. You mean to suggest this is recreational? Jack nodded. Oh yeah? Ever heard of chiropractic therapy? We pay people to twist and pop our spines for relaxation. Zilvek made a strangled clicking noise. You allow others to forcibly manipulate your framework? Jack shrugged. Yep. And it feels amazing. Helzak turned to Zilvek in horror. Their skeletal integrity is optional. Jack laughed. Man, you guys are really struggling with this, huh? Zilvek sighed, rubbing his forehead as if this was the worst day of his life. This information has catastrophic implications. Jack raised an eyebrow. Catastrophic? Zilvek gestured at his data pad. If humans can casually alter their skeletal structure, then all previous medical protocols regarding your species are null. Every study conducted on human anatomy is incomplete. Every injury report may be misclassified. Your kind may possess unknown regenerative properties. Jack whistled. Regeneration, huh? I mean, we do heal pretty fast. You ever heard of a boxer breaking his nose and finishing the fight anyway? Helzak paled. No. Or a football player tearing a ligament and still running on it. Zilvek covered his face. Please stop. Jack leaned back, enjoying their discomfort. Ever heard of bone setting? Some people just shove their own broken bones back into place. Helzak let out a faint, horrified whistle. They repair themselves, manually? Jack nodded. Oh yeah? Happens all the time. Zilvek inhaled sharply. This explains too much. Jack raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? Zilvek gestured wildly. Human endurance. Your absurd pain tolerance. Your ability to recover from injuries that would incapacitate most species. It is because your skeletal structure is malleable. Jack grinned. I wouldn't say malleable. That makes it sound like we're made of jelly. Helzak shuddered. Are you? Jack laughed. No, but now I kinda wish I was just to see your reaction. Zilvek slumped into a chair. This must be reported to the High Medical Council. Immediate adjustments to all interspecies medical procedures must be made. Jack tilted his head. All that because I shifted in my chair? Helzak exhaled. That was merely the catalyst. Zilvek turned to him. What do we do if a human ever needs emergency care? Helzak hesitated. I do not know. Jack grinned. Well, step 1, don't panic. Zilvek groaned. Impossible. Jack stretched again, making his shoulders audibly pop. Both aliens recoiled. Helzak muttered. I need to go lie down. Jack smirked. Better hope your exoskeleton allows it.